Hello. In the summer of 2016, the sudden death of Pakistan's first true social media superstar shocked the entire world. Nicknamed the Kim Kardashian of Pakistan, she was famous for her striking beauty, bold style, confidence, and sharp humor. In a country with strict social rules, she lived a colorful, unapologetic life. Her very existence sparked endless debate. Some people saw her as a reckless woman who thrived on attention. Others considered her a symbol of freedom, brave enough to break the chains of society. But no one expected such a famous woman to suddenly die overnight. Her death not only shook all of Pakistan, but also sparked deep debates about women's rights and so-called honor crimes. A well-known filmmaker declared, "In this country, no woman is safe until we start severely punishing those who kill them." So, what really happened that year? Let's go back to 2016 and uncover the details. Pakistan is a country in South Asia, an Islamic nation with about 95% of its population practicing Islam. The call to prayer echoes daily from dawn until sunset. Religious faith is deeply woven into everyday life here. And the story we are about to tell unfolds in this unique country. On the 16th of July 2016, in the city of Multan, in Punjab province, Pakistan, an event shook the entire nation. The famous star Qandeel Baloch was killed in her own home. This social media queen of Pakistan had more than 700,000 followers on Facebook and was extremely popular nationwide. She even had a presence on the international stage. Every post she made became a hot topic. News of her sudden death quickly climbed to the top of search rankings, sparking heated debates online and countless trending topics. Facing massive public pressure, the police immediately launched an investigation. From the very start, they noticed many strange details surrounding Qandeel's death. So, what's the strange point here? Let's go through the entire process of the case together. The first to notice something was wrong was Qandeel's mother, Anwar Bibi. She recalled that on the night of the 15th of July, she and her husband slept deeply and only woke around 10 a.m. the next morning. After waking, she began preparing lunch. By 11 a.m., the food was ready, but her daughter still hadn't come out to eat. She asked her husband, Azim, to call her. Azim went to his daughter's room, called her several times, but got no answer. When he reached the bed and tried to wake Qandeel, he was shocked to find her pale, unresponsive, and no longer breathing. Police quickly arrived at the scene and noticed several suspicious details. First, the room was very tidy, with doors and windows intact, no signs of forced entry. Second, Qandeel showed no clear marks of struggle, suggesting she might have been killed in her sleep. Third, the entire family reported hearing nothing unusual. This was strange. Could it have been suicide? The police were puzzled and had to send her body for forensic testing. Results came quickly. The time of death was determined to be around 11:30 p.m. on the 15th of July. The cause? Mechanical suffocation. Most importantly, traces of sedatives were found in her system. This strongly suggested she had been murdered. So the question became, who could carry this out so secretly? Who could drug her without anyone in the family noticing, then quietly enter her room and suffocate her? That person had to be someone close to Qandeel, someone she trusted. At this point, a chilling thought crossed the investigators' minds. Could the killer be a member of her own family? Investigators then summoned everyone present in the house that night for questioning. The mother explained that her daughter had been home and cheerful. The family of four, herself, her husband, Qandeel, and their son had dinner together. At that time, Qandeel showed no unusual signs. After dinner, everyone went to their rooms to sleep as usual. The son gave a similar statement. While police were at a standstill, the father, Azim, who had remained mostly silent, suddenly gave shocking testimony. He accused his own son, Mohammed Wasim, of killing Qandeel. A father accusing his son of murdering his own sister. This was extraordinary. Mr. Azim recalled that on the morning of the 16th of July, he noticed his son behaving very strangely. Wasim's eyes were restless as he paced back and forth inside the house, looking both anxious and unsettled. He even took his motorcycle out for a ride, as if something serious had happened and he was nervously waiting for someone to notice. Moreover, a few days earlier, another son of Aslam Shaheen had encouraged Wasim to harm Qandeel Baloch. The two had discussed it at length. Feeling deep remorse for his daughter, Shaheen finally decided not to remain silent. In tears, he said, "My sons have wronged my daughter. She was a brave young woman. I will never forgive what they did." The police were stunned, but they still decided to arrest both Wasim and Aslam Shaheen that same night. At first, they expected the brothers to deny everything. But to their surprise, Wasim immediately confessed without any interrogation. He said, "It was all me. Aslam Shaheen had nothing to do with it." Wasim then recounted the entire sequence of events. On the night of the 15th of July, the family of 4 shared dinner together. Wasim volunteered to pour milk for everyone. Alone in the kitchen, he prepared 4 glasses and secretly added sedatives into 3 of them. After drinking, the family soon felt drowsy and went to their rooms to sleep. At around 11:15 p.m., Wasim quietly entered Quandil's room. While she was fast asleep, he used a blanket and a pillow to smother her. The act was silent. What disturbed investigators was that during his confession, Wasim showed no sign of regret. Instead, he appeared proud. He said, "My sister dishonored the family. I could not endure it any longer, so I ended her life." As way to ease public pressure, the police held a press conference. During it, Wasim unexpectedly shouted, "A daughter is meant to stay home, follow family traditions, and uphold our honor." But Quandil never did. She flaunted herself without shame. "Even though she was the financial backbone of our family, I still ended her life. Money matters, but family honor matters more. My friends constantly sent me her inappropriate videos and photos. My parents, my brothers, and I suffered for 20 years because of her. I was determined to end it, and I am proud of that. Now people will remember my glory, because I freed my family from that suffering." The strong words he delivered at the press conference quickly made front-page headlines across Pakistan and even spread internationally, sparking global outrage. At this point, many may wonder, why did Wasim, after killing his sister, still speak so boldly and even with pride? The reason lies in Pakistan's practice of what is called honor killing. In reality, gender inequality in Pakistan is severe, with women holding a very low social position. According to the 2024 Global Gender Gap Report by the World Economic Forum, Pakistan ranked 145 out of 146 countries. Inequality is deeply entrenched due to religious influence and historical culture. Women are bound by extremely strict rules. In some conservative families and communities, male relatives use the excuse of family honor to commit acts of extreme violence against women, including unlawful honor killings. Women who fall victim to such killings are often accused of crimes like fleeing arranged marriages, being assaulted, committing adultery, dressing fashionably, or behaving in ways deemed improper. Honor killings are tragically common in Pakistan, with nearly 1,000 women losing their lives each year to this practice, while perpetrators rarely face justice. This explains why Wasim acted so brazenly. He believed he was defending family honor. So what terrible crime had Quandil Baloch committed that made her own brother turn against her? The story is a long one, so let's begin with how she first rose to fame. Quandil Baloch, born Fauzia Azim, came into the world on the 1st of March 1990, in a small village in Dera Ghazi Khan, central Pakistan. From there began her short but legendary life. Dera Ghazi Khan is a city in southwestern Punjab, one of the poorest regions of Pakistan. Her family lived in poverty, with her parents working on a farm to make ends meet. She grew up with 6 brothers and 2 sisters. Despite the hardship, Quandil was full of energy. She was enthusiastic, loved sports, and her small face was always lit up with a bright smile like a little sundae. At that time, because of religious traditions, most people wore conservative clothing. But Quandil was rebellious. To enjoy herself more freely, she often set aside traditional garments. In 2000, her family saved enough money to buy a television. Quandil was quickly captivated by the movies and dazzling performances on the screen. She admired many stars. One day, she told her younger sister, "One day I'll also stand on stage just like those city girls. I'll make the whole village proud of me." And skidding of the time. However, as the saying goes, dreams are full and round, but reality is often harsh and bony. At 17, Quandil was forced to marry her maternal cousin. If nothing had changed, she would have been just like millions of other Pakistani women staying home to care for her husband and children. In 2009, at the age of 19, she gave birth to a son, but her married life was far from happy. Her husband was abusive, often scolding her and showing a constantly harsh temper. In such a situation, most Pakistani women might choose to endure or simply carry on. But Quandil was not someone to be easily bullied. She decided to leave, taking her son with her. At first, the two stayed in a women's shelter in Multan. But life there was tough, both food and living conditions were poor. She couldn't bear to see her son suffer alongside her, so she secretly returned him to his father. Kwandil then decided to make her own way in the world, planning that once she succeeded, she would bring her son back with dignity. Over the next few years, she wandered from place to place, doing all kinds of jobs and enduring countless hardships. In 2012, at the age of 22, she finally saved some money and moved to Karachi, Pakistan's commercial hub. Kwandil planned to begin her journey of chasing her dreams there. Thanks to her efforts, she landed a few small roles in television dramas and films. Although they were only supporting roles, she had finally started her acting career. By the end of 2013, Kwandil participated in the reality television show Pakistan Idol. Her singing and humorous performance drew attention from many viewers and boosted her fame. At the same time, social media was rapidly growing among young people. Kwandil seized the opportunity, creating her own personal page and sharing her daily life. In some of her videos, she wore shorts and low-cut tops, acting bold and confident. In a deeply conservative country like Pakistan, her actions naturally sparked heavy criticism. How could she do this? Doesn't she feel ashamed? If I ever find this woman, or I would hurt her on the spot. Such threats flooded social media, but as the saying goes, attention, whether good or bad, is still attention. Controversy meant traffic. Kwandil didn't care much about the criticism. She even stated publicly in an interview, "I like my videos. They don't have any vulgar content. I think I look hot and attractive." She presented herself as a source of strength for women. This immediately caught public attention and turned her into a well-known figure. Some click-hungry news sites even dubbed her the face of Pakistani feminism or the Kim Kardashian of Pakistan. Kwandil's fame quickly spread across the internet, bringing her many business opportunities, such as reality television appearances and brand endorsements. By the end of 2015, she was earning well and covering all of her family's expenses. She rented a luxurious villa in Multan for her parents and even organized a grand wedding for her sister. Normally, with such a generous family member, everyone would be overjoyed. But Kwandil's siblings didn't see it that way. Outwardly, they spent her money, but behind her back, they criticized her, complaining that she was bringing shame to the family. Unaware of this, Kwandil continued to live her life with passion and boldness. In January 2016, she posted a video online, openly expressing her affection for Imran Khan, the former cricket player and former Prime Minister of Pakistan. She boldly proposed, "I like you so much, and I love you so much. Will you marry me?" Kwandil even stood outside Imran Khan's residence for several days. News outlets covered the entire story. This was like a bombshell that shocked people across Pakistan. Some scolded her for being shameless and trying to seduce a politician, while others admired her for being confident, bold, and brave in pursuing love. While the public was still debating this, Kwandil went on to tease Shahid Afridi, an internationally famous cricket player. She promised to do a bold dance if Pakistan defeated India in a cricket match, even posting the challenge online. One controversy after another kept arising. Throughout that entire year, Kwandil never left the top search rankings. When Pakistan's Prime Minister at the time condemned Valentine's Day as a Western concept incompatible with the country's traditions, Kwandil posted a video wearing a pink dress, cheerfully wishing everyone a happy Valentine's Day. Some reports stated that she was the most searched person on Google in Pakistan in 2016. Even her haters were growing exhausted from constantly criticizing her. If the earlier stories were just small stunts, Kwandil's next action directly pushed conflicts to the extreme while raising her fame to an entirely new level. The turning point in her destiny began when she openly challenged Pakistan's traditional and religious norms. On the 20th of June 2016, Kwandil posted videos and selfies with Mufti Abdul Qavi, a senior Islamic cleric, inside a hotel room. In the pictures, Kwandil wore Qavi's cap, and the two appeared very close. This act was nothing short of a challenge. A controversial woman being seen with a highly respected cleric ignited an even greater wave of public backlash. Local media quickly invited both of them to a talk show, where the host directly asked what had happened between them. Kwandil pretended to be innocent, saying that she had intended to discuss cultural and religious issues with Qavi, but he had acted inappropriately and even said he wanted to marry her. She sneered, So it turns out that a noble and holy cleric can do such despicable things. As for Quavi, he appeared extremely uneasy, as if sitting on hot coals. His vague answers to Quandil's accusations raised suspicion and criticism from online communities. Not long after, he was suspended from his position. After this incident, Quandil appeared even more frequently in the media, openly condemning the oppression of women across all levels of Pakistani society. It could be said that every move she made was a direct challenge to the boundaries set by conservatives in the country. In July 2016, Quandil released a song online. The lyrics spoke about how women should have the right to choose their own lifestyle, rather than being bound by traditional beliefs. The song also mocked the double standards between genders, asking why women's actions were always harshly criticized while men were free to behave however they pleased. The powerful emotions in the song clearly showed Quandil's determination to call on society to reconsider its attitude toward women. But sadly, the power of a single individual was too small. Like a lone warrior, she ultimately fell into an endless darkness. Suddenly, Quandil's life was turned upside down. Her past and private life were exposed to the entire nation. The press revealed her passport, disclosing her real name as Fawzia Azim. Some extremists even claimed that she was nothing more than a poor girl from a remote village, not the daughter of a wealthy landowner as rumored. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. In reality, after the incident with Quavi, Quandil began receiving frequent threats to her life, especially once all her personal information was made public. Her fear only grew stronger. On the 4th of July 2016, Quandil told a reporter that she feared for her safety and had sought police protection, but the police never responded. Therefore, Quandil decided to leave Pakistan. She planned to take her parents to another country after the Eid holiday to live out the rest of their lives. Before leaving the country, she stayed with her parents and her brother, Mohammed Wasim. On the night of the 15th, her life was tragically taken. Perhaps, even until her final moment, she never imagined that despite guarding against everything, she would lose her life at the hands of her own family. In truth, it was clear that Quandil's death was not simply a matter of being killed by Wasim. Her actions had clashed with the deeply rooted social codes of the entire nation. It wasn't impossible that others, unhappy with her defiance, played a role behind the scenes, but without concrete evidence, no one dared to say more. Quandil's father, Mohammed Azim, later accused Abdul Qavi, the cleric who had clashed with his daughter, of possibly inciting the crime. The police arrested Qavi as well. Under public pressure, the Pakistani government stepped in as the plaintiff in the case. As a result, Quandil's family could not seek leniency for the perpetrator. The hearing took place on the 27th of September 2019. At this trial, Wasim was sentenced to life in prison for murder, while Abdul Qavi was declared innocent. The court stated that there was no evidence linking him to the crime, and he was released. When Qavi walked out of court, some people showered him with rose petals and apologized for the earlier accusations. Before the gathered reporters, Qavi smiled and said, "In the future, before insulting a cleric, remember the fate of this woman. The prayers of my supporters have been answered. This is a day when justice has prevailed. 3 years ago, I wondered whether the words of a woman could threaten the privilege and status of a man. Now I have my answer: absolutely not." They mauled to the author. After Quandil was killed, a small group of people in Lahore and Karachi held prayer ceremonies for her. She was laid to rest in Dera Ghazi Khan, the place where she was born, and the place that became her final resting ground. Her total assets while alive were estimated at around $800,000, likely enough for her entire family to live comfortably for the rest of their lives. The killing of Quandil sparked fierce and lasting debates. Anyone browsing the internet could see the impact she had on the country, both in life and even after death. She continued to shape Pakistan in one way or another. Public opinion was divided. Some applauded, claiming that society had finally rid itself of something corrupt. Others, however, began to reflect more deeply. One man confronted Wasim, saying, "Your sister wore shorts, sang, and danced while you lived lavishly off her money. In the end, you even took her life. You have no honor at all. She was a symbol of freedom. She did nothing wrong. What she did is normal in the West. Tell me, what exactly did she do wrong?" The murder of Quandil was also condemned by many public figures, including then British Prime Minister Theresa May. She stated, "So-called honor killings are nothing to be proud of. They should be recognized for what they are: acts of terrorism. Sarah Salem, a PhD researcher in women and gender studies at Arizona State University, analyzed the case. Quandil represents a deep paradox in our society. We want to control and regulate women's behavior, yet at the same time, we consume their images. Those who insulted and shamed her also found satisfaction in her videos. And the talk show hosts who smeared her used her as a tool to boost their ratings. A United Nations report on gender equality and women's empowerment pointed out that Pakistani women face violence from partners, including physical and sexual abuse. Every year, about 1,000 women are killed in so-called honor killings. The tragedy of Quandil opened an opportunity for Pakistani women. In 2016, Pakistan passed an anti-honor killing law. This law clearly defined honor killings as murder and mandated strict punishment. It also abolished the previous clause that allowed the victim's family to forgive the killer now. Even if the family forgave, the perpetrator still had to face the law. However, even though Pakistan enacted this law, in reality many related cases remain poorly investigated and prosecuted. Offenders often find ways to escape punishment. Take the case of Wasim, the perpetrator in our story. He was sentenced to life imprisonment for murder, yet just 3 years later, a Pakistani appeals court released him. If such a shocking case could end with the killer freed after only 3 years, one can imagine how difficult it is to hold offenders accountable in other cases. In the end, many simply fade away. The tragedy of Quandil exposed the deep gender inequality and cultural conflicts in Pakistani society. Her death was not just a family tragedy, but also a mirror reflecting the darkest corners of society. Her actions ignited a debate on women's rights in Pakistan and pushed for legal reforms. Although her life was taken away brutally, the impact she left behind will endure for a long time. Her story may have ended, but its echoes still resonate. Her death, a heartbreaking tragedy, has become a symbolic tale, shedding light on the shadowed parts of Pakistani society, where tradition and modernity clash, and where women's rights remain a long struggle. Looking back at her life, what do we see? A poor girl yearning for change, daring to dream, daring to live true to herself. For many, Quandil was a symbol of bravery, a woman who dared to break the barriers of a conservative society, dared to show her individuality, and dared to raise her voice. She represented a younger generation striving for freedom and equality. The image of a lively young woman, full of energy, living true to herself despite mockery and criticism, inspired countless others. But alongside this admiration, others saw her differently. They believed she was breaking tradition and disrupting social order. To them, her actions were provocative, even offensive to cultural and religious values. For them, Quandil was a black sheep, a stain that needed to be erased. The criticism, condemnation, and even threats she faced revealed a society still deeply entrenched in prejudice and restrictions against women. So who was Quandil? A victim of so-called honor killing? A hero fighting for women's rights? Or a rebel willing to risk everything for fame? The answer, perhaps, lies in how each of us chooses to see her. Her death is a reminder of the importance of respecting differences, protecting individual freedoms, and fighting for a more just society for everyone, especially women. Her story is not over. It continues to be written by those still fighting for a better world. That concludes today's video. I'll see you again in the next one. Goodbye.